Joe, straight to it this weekend, Seir Kieran against Tullaroan in a Leinster Intermediate hurling final. Are you excited for it?
I am, yeah. Really looking forward to it, to be honest, Shane. We kind of coasted through Offaly, to be honest, and it was kind of expected that we would. So that it made it hard on the lads themselves because they were expected to win. And in fairness to them, they started off brilliant and they had a bit of a struggle a bit in the middle of the championship, but then they won it easy enough in the end. And when they got into Leinster, then they had an easy enough win up in Meath against Kildalkey, and then 2 weeks ago we beat Bray Emmets down in Ockram, which was a right tough battle. It was the toughest game we got all year. So looking forward to the final now, especially against Tullaroan, obviously, and it's probably a kind of a dream final, to be honest. In Wales, I know Bray and Naas mightn't think that, but it is a kind of a dream final there.
Yeah, there's kind of a bit of glitz and glamour about it, just by virtue of Tommy Walsh is there, Pádraig Walsh is there, even the other Tommy Walsh who's on the Kilkenny senior panel. So it's and you know the likes of Joe Bergen on your
Correct,
side, and other Offaly panelists.
That's
So it's
right.
fairly high profile, isn't it?
Yeah, the Kilkenny Intermediate champions are always going to be very strong, and Sir Tommy Walsh alone will bring a crowd to Northern Park on Saturday. And as you say, young Tommy Walsh was a very promising player. Pádraig Walsh. There's the Cohens as well, and there's a whole clatter of Walshes playing.
Yeah.
But even on our side, like you've Joe Bergen and James Mulrooney and Dermot Mooney, like we probably have maybe about 8 guys that have worn the Offaly jersey in Championship hurling. So maybe some of them not for that long, but they have played county hurling. So they can all hurl. So it should be a good final. You know?
So how on earth did Seir Kieran end up down here? Because having spoken to some local journalists, for example Joe Troy, he said if everything is going right for Seir Kieran, they should be at least semi-finalists in Offaly.
Yeah, and we were for a few years up to last year, and then last year we had a poor year and we got relegated, and we deserve to be relegated, but we shouldn't be down there, if you know what I mean. You know, like the lads didn't put in the work, but this year they've got back to the grindstone and they've put in a good year, and hopefully they'll put up a good performance on Saturday. Yeah.
How did the boys turn it around?
The new trainer in this year, Dan Hackett, and he's supposed to start back training early, and they knew they had a chance of winning the Senior B, but the pressure was on them from the start of the year. They still had to go out and do it, and everybody was putting them up on the pedestal, but they managed to do that, in fairness to them. You know, they were in a kind of a no-win situation, and now they're in a competition that's really going to test them. You know?
Yeah. And like it's kind of funny in a way. You're playing against the romantic Tommy Walsh story. You're almost the party poopers if you win this, aren't you?
We are indeed, yeah. And it's funny. Clarine, which is the parish, and Tullaroan, we're in the same diocese of Ossory. We're the only parish in Offaly in the diocese of Ossory. We're an island parish, and Ossory is really it's a Kilkenny diocese. So we've two parishes from the one diocese playing in the final now. So. For
those who wouldn't know the area, Clarine, like why is the club Seir Kieran and Clarine?
Seir Kieran is there's a monastic site in Clarine. St. Kieran is the patron saint of the parish, and I suppose that's the club was called Seir Kieran from day one. I think right from the time the club was formed, it was Seir Kieran. I'm not a history teacher now, but locally we'd be known as Clarine. Nearly nobody would refer to us as Seir Kieran, except but all around Borough and that would be known as Clarine. Yeah.
How many people are in the parish?
It's up about 450 people or something like that. About 80 houses. We're the second smallest parish in Ireland. So,
really? Yeah. And I suppose the club is very much built on a nucleus of a certain amount of families.
Oh, it is indeed. Yeah, like this year we had 3 teams, participated. We did Senior B, and we got to the intermediate final as well as the Senior B final.
So you've 450 in the parish, and you've 3 adult teams.
3 adult teams, yeah. So anyone from the age of 17 up to the age of 47 plays, basically. Yeah. Very few gets through the net.
It sounds like you might still be talking yourself.
Well, I did up to a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So that's right. It's enjoyable, and I know probably our third team are very much part timers, but the first 2 teams we've a lot of young lads in the parish, and so like Saturday's going to be a big day for the parish.
I remember my brother being over the third team in Borris-Lee several years back, and he said the lads were making a huge commitment. There was no smoking in the dressing room. But so when did you last play a match?
Well, the last time I played for Clarine would have been about, I suppose it's 5 or 6, 7 years ago now. I finished up, I think it was 47 or 48, playing Junior B now. It was down at the lowest level, but I think we won the Junior A when it was about 43 or 44. So, but you play for as long as you can, and especially there's nothing to beat pulling on the club jersey or the parish jersey. It's special.
Who are the families that make up the club?
Well, I suppose in back in when I was playing, you had the Dooleys, the Coughlin's, the Connors, the Mulroneys. There was 4 families really, and then there was a number like Kevin Keenan and a few other players as well. And presently, then you have Coughlin's and Joe Berg, and there's a bigger spread in family names actually at the moment now.
Right.
But
we don't want to leave anyone out.
Exactly.
But you don't know all day to listen.
Correct.
So talk to me about growing up, and the club hadn't won anything. Hadn't won a senior title in Offaly up until
1988.
88. At that stage, you were
24 at the time. I was managing them that year, as it turned out. But like the club was formed in 1888, so we went for 100 years without winning the championship, and we won intermediate and junior back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, but never won a senior. So to make the breakthrough was a really historic day, you know. And I was lucky enough to play in 13 county finals, so senior finals there was 11 and 2 replays, so we had a brilliant run for about 20 years. And you know, it's we have a small parish, but we were closely knit and we had a few families and we got the best out of what we had, you know.
How did you end up as trainer at 24? Was it because you were in with Offaly? People thought, well, he knows.
Yeah. Funny enough, I had been playing with Offaly we won our first championship in 88. I started with Offaly in 82. I was only 18, but I was 6 years playing with Offaly, and I probably had won a few Leinsters and an All-Ireland. So you were kind of one of the few lads that, I don't know, maybe they were stuck that year, but they asked me to do it anyway. So I took it on, and so thankfully we won it, and it was great, you know.
Yeah, what were the scenes like that day when you won the county?
Unbelievable. Like I can still remember it. Just, you know, we beat Rhinos in the final. We beat them by 3 or 4 points, and like Johnny was playing that day. My brother, he was only just gone 16 years of age, you know, and that time hurling was tough, you know.
Agricultural.
It was agricultural, yeah, and you know, we so it was unbelievable, that kind of unbridled joy, a bit like Boris winning last Sunday, you know, after 33 years. But when you win after 100 years, it's brilliant, you know.
Yeah, and I'd say it just took over Clarine, did it?
It did indeed, yeah. Well, we actually don't have a pub in the parish, believe it or not. We have to go to Kinnity or Killeen, and Killeen is closed now. We're into Burr, you know. So, but then during my time, Rhinos were very, very strong, and so were Burr. Like Burr, I think for about a 12 or 13 year period, we won 4 championships, and Burr won 4, and Rhinos won 4.
Right.
And Lusma came in and won 1 in the middle of it as well. So hurling in Offaly was very strong that time. Hurling was very strong. You know. And
was it an easy transition between club and county? I suppose it wasn't like you were with the county for 9 months of the year and never seen back at the club in those days, was it?
Yeah, well, we you know, you'd play a couple of games with the club maybe in April, but then you'd go in with the county and you wouldn't come back with the county. You wouldn't see the club until maybe September if we were lucky, you know, and maybe nearly every year at that time we got to at least a Leinster final, so you wouldn't be back with the club until nearly early August. But in fairness to the lads with the club, they kept tipping away and playing practice matches, and they understood that we were with Offaly, and their noses weren't out of joint because we weren't turning up at club training. But then once Offaly were beaten, we were all back with the club and we never miss a night, you know. So, and everybody kind of rode in behind us, you know. Yeah.
Would you have, like, would that be your favourite memory, that 88 county final, or was there any other?
88 was brilliant, and then we won it again. We didn't win it again until 1995. We lost in 89. Lusma beat us by a point. We lost to Borough in 91 by 2 points, and Borough went on to the All-Ireland final. We lost to Borough again in 94 by 2 points. So we had our disappointments, you know, but in 95 we made the breakthrough again, and you know, we found a couple of new young fellas came along, and just only 2 or 3 of them, but they made the difference, you know, just to freshen it up, and we really grinded out a win. It was actually in a replay against St. Rhinos in 95.
Were you captain that time?
Captain that day.
So you were probably into your 30s?
I was 32 or 3 at the time, 34, nearly 32 I think, and Shane was a mascot that day as well.
Was he? Because I was going to bring up Shane then. He ends up playing for Tullamore.
That's right.
Against you?
Yeah. He did indeed. I played against him probably towards the end of my days. So his memory of that game is that, and he often says it, is that he got a ball near the end line, you know, and he was coming in. Kevin Keenan picked him up and just dropped him out over the end line. He was only a light young fella that time now. He's strengthened up since, but But he said he thought he was going to get around Kevin Keenan, and Kevin just lifted him up and dropped him out over the end.
I think I asked him about this for an article several years ago, and he was saying that was it Johnny maybe let her roar him one time, and he went back from the ball just because he was used to the voice
of an uncle as well.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I suppose it was great to play against one another, but I suppose that's what it was really.
It's kind of funny. It's only in the GA you'd have
that's it.
Yeah. So and like, what was the week leading into that game like?
I suppose there wasn't a whole lot said. Actually, I wasn't expecting him to be playing. He was kind of drafted in at the 11th hour, if you know what I mean. So, and he never said he was playing, so he was keeping it. He wasn't giving away any secrets.
Giving away nothing. Who won that game?
I think we did by a point, because Tullamore have never beaten us in the championship, so we must have won.
Yeah, sure. He still has to learn a few tricks.
He does.
Would you be a good viewer of watching his games? Are you a nervous watcher or what?
Well, I'd be, I suppose. When he's playing well, it's easy to watch it. If he's not playing so well, you're kind of giving out to yourself and about him. You know, I suppose it's not easy to watch your own playing. That's all I'd say on that. Yeah.
Any particular highlight of watching him?
Sure. Obviously, he captained Tullamore to win the senior hurling championship in 2009, and I think to beat Borough in the semi-final and beat Kilcormac in the final, like that was a very proud day for. I suppose I was very proud of him anyway. You know, to captain Tullamore hadn't won a championship in 45 years. I know Borough's won 33 years, but this was 45 years, and so it was. That was probably the day I'd have been most proud of him. Yeah.
And I presume you moved in closer to Tullamore.
Yeah, I'm living in Tullamore now, and have been for the last nearly 20 years. So that's why he's playing with Tullamore.
Yeah, I'd say, is that a case that he ends up in school with lads from Tullamore, so you can't drag him away and say go out there to Seir Kieran?
No, generally in Offaly you play wherever you're living. It's not like in other counties where you play where your parents are from, really. You know, so. And he played football with Tullamore all up along, and won a lot in the football, especially now at all age levels, and won a couple of senior football championships as well. So, Tullamore is his club,
yeah. Actually, got to manage him with Offaly.
Well, that's right, yeah. And in fairness, he delivered as well for me when I was managing Offaly as well. On lots of occasions, he saved me bacon a bit now.
Like, at least in that situation, you know, no one's going to question me for starting my own stuff. I'm sure other people have been in.
No, it was difficult enough early on now when I took over Offaly, because he was probably only breaking into the team, but then fairly quickly he established himself, and it wasn't an issue anymore then.
Yeah. Is it a tough thing to manage your county in terms of the scrutiny on you?
It is. It's much tougher than club management. You know, it's and especially when you're managing your own county, because you're emotionally involved in it, and you get so, you know, you just want to win and get the best out of the players, especially, and it's tough. Yeah, it's a tough job nowadays. You want lots of time as well. You really need to be nearly full time at it. You know, I have a relatively busy job, and to be trying to do it with that as well is not that easy. You know? But I enjoyed it, and in my time at Offaly we had a good panel, and in fairness to the lads, they'd never miss a night. There was never any issues with discipline or anything. You know, we were relatively successful, and we had, without winning anything major, but we set our own targets and we did very well.
Well, do you have any particular highlight for managing?
Well, obviously we won the Division 2 league. We beat Wexford in the final, but we drew with Galway in Croke Park, and they beat us by a point in Portlaoise in a replay.
That 2011, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2011, and even in Cork beat us by a point down. You know, we were very, very unlucky in a couple of occasions that we could have. If we had a little bit of luck, we could have got a bit further. You know, but that's the way it goes. You know?
Yeah, and also, like when you're talking to people from Offaly about the years since, you'd love to bring up more positive stuff.
You would, yeah.
Unfortunately, it has been kind of downhill, and like, there's plenty, I suppose, potshots been had at Offaly in the media now, and I like to wind up the likes of Michael Verney when I'm chatting to him, just to get him going or whatever. But how hard was it to watch it over those?
It's been very difficult the last 3 or 4 years, especially. Shane, you know, to be down in the Christy Ring Cup is terrible, really. You know, and to allow it to slip that far has been terrible. And even in the league, we're down in Division 2A next year, and just looking at the fixtures, you know, we're going to places that we've never been before, you know, and that's not good. You know, like we're better than that, and maybe we're not a lot better, but we are better than that. You know, so new management in this year now, and hopefully they can kind of lift it and get the thing going again. You know.
Do you feel like a lot of what's happened is a case of Offaly shooting itself in the foot?
Yeah, well, actually, we can't blame anyone else for it. Like we're in charge of our own affairs. Like we have to. I suppose the only maybe slight gripe I'd have really, and always have, is that we should be allowed to play in the Leinster Hurling Championship. If you're born in Leinster, you should be allowed hurling in Leinster. Like that'd be my. You have Galway playing in Leinster, and you could have Antrim playing in Leinster, and yet Offaly can't play in Leinster. Like there's something wrong there, and especially if you look at the football, every team in Leinster can play in the Leinster Football Championship, but not in the hurling. Like that's wrong.
The flip side then is that they weren't competitive.
No, we weren't, but we were often not competitive, and then we became competitive again. I think banishing you down to the lower divisions is not doing anything for hurling. And we played in the Joe McDonagh last year, and there wasn't one game televised, or there was hardly a match report in any of the matches. Like
the odd one streamed.
Yeah, the odd one streamed, that kind of stuff. But it's you're out of the limelight, and so then your standards drop, and now you can say it's up to ourselves to get us back up, and I think that's the plan. But I think every team should be allowed to play in the Leinster Championship. Carlow, Westmeath, Offaly, anyone that wants to play in it should be allowed to play in it.
And so like Michael Fennelly has taken over, but just before talking about him, there's a contest for the chairman at the moment. Tommy Byrne is looking to stay in. Michael Dignan's looking to get in there. Do you think that what's like happening, and I'm sure it's an awkward thing to talk about, so answer it in your own way, but what's happening above you when you're a manager, is that and around you, that's holding the county back?
Yeah, well, I suppose there's a contest for the chairman, as you say, at the moment now, and that's going to be very interesting now. Yeah. It's been very publicly fought out, if you know what I mean, and a lot of canvassing going on, and there is a feeling out there that the county board hasn't kind of steered the ship well over the last few years, and I'd say that they would have to take a certain amount of the blame for the reason for us being down in the Christy Ring Cup, and we're not doing much better in the football either, I'd have to say. We were one kick of a ball away from Division 4 last year, so, and that's probably a lot of the reason for, I'd say, Michael running for chairman. In fact, I'd say it's probably the main reason is to try and get a bit of pride back in the county and get more people involved and try and freshen up the whole county board setup. And Tommy Byrne is in there and he's doing his best, and as are loads of other people, but sometimes you need change and you need to freshen up things, and that can only be good for the county.
Do you think Michael would be good at that job?
He would, of course he would. He's a good communicator, and he'd be able to bring people with him, and he's a number of others that are going for positions as well, so I think he would do a good job if he got in.
And then Michael Fennelly, it's a hilarious, he seems like a really good appointment. It's a hilarious situation whereby he's still in the club championship as he's about to start off his tenure. Do you think he's a good appointment?
Oh, he's definitely a good appointment. Yeah, there's no question about it. For he's been there, done that, as we know, numerous times. Now it's his first time into a manager's position, and that's different now to just playing the game yourself. But he's up to speed with modern strength and conditioning training. He knows what it takes. So I know all the lads are very excited about it and very thrilled with his appointment. And then you have obviously Johnny Kelly with him as well from Portumna, who's managing Borris at the minute as well. So, and Johnny would, whatever Michael might lack in managerial experience, Johnny would definitely have it. He's been managing teams for the last
in Coolderry, which you've seen.
And Portumna, and obviously Borris as well. So there's a strong management team there now. I suppose they're a bit compromised at the moment with the way how well each of them are going in the club championship. But
you could have Fennelly against Johnny Kelly yet again. That's GA.
That's GA, yeah. And I'm sure they're both kind of grown up men and professional. That won't bother them,
What do you want to see? Like, what changes do you want to see with this Offaly team? Like the last couple of years, there's obviously been. I know some of the guys over it were your former teammates, so again, it's probably a little bit awkward to talk about it. But it does feel like shooting yourself in the foot, and then people are tweeting massively about it online. I'm sure you see that. Yeah. And again, the whole thing seems to be just surrounded in negativity and backward steps. What changes do you want to see?
Yeah, well, I'd like to see basically all the best players putting themselves forward, and not just putting themselves forward, actually coming in and putting in the effort that's required to be competitive and be successful at county level. And that means coming in and training and doing what you're asked to do and getting yourself mentally right and physically right and being determined in when you go out in the field. The management team have to facilitate all that, but they also need to motivate the team, and the team needs to motivate themselves, and we need to be determined and get back traditional Offaly sort of pride and determination, and with everybody playing as a team and working for one another, and You know, we've had too much guys dropping out of panels, and maybe managers not picking players in their best positions or settling on the best teams, but like management need to figure out what their team is as well and settle on a team. And you know, there's a whole lot of things to this, and then the county board needs to really row in behind them and support them, and supporters need to get behind it. There's a whole lot of different strands to it, Shane, but the big thing is that we get back determined and get pride in the jersey, and everybody that can playing and playing with determination and playing with heart. You know,
because you feel that that's been lost, the sort of pride.
It is. I think it has. Yeah, I think without a doubt, yeah, that we're not leaving it all out in the field, and maybe we're not being asked to, or maybe we're not being prepared well enough to do that. You know, but you need to be fully fit. You need to be determined. You need to have a game plan. You need to be picking guys in the right position. You know, and there's a bit of responsibility on a lot of people to make sure all that comes together. You know,
and. Do you sense that all the best players will tug out?
I think they will, yeah. I think this year, I know they're getting good numbers in training, you know, maybe compared to this time last year. So the signs are positive enough. Now there's one or two who hasn't come in or committed. So, but we have to move on. If they don't, they don't. We have to go with what you have now and build for the future, you know.
And this is a very general one, and maybe we'll see where it goes. What's your favourite thing about hurling?
Favourite thing about hurling, I guess. That's a good question now.
Yeah.
Well, I just loved the next challenge for competing and just the enjoyment you got out of it, to be honest now. You know, like hurling, it's a game to be enjoyed as well at the end of the day, and that's a very important part of any county setup as well, or any setup, that everybody's enjoying it, you know, and the camaraderie that you make. And but I suppose personally, I loved all that, but I loved winning, or trying to win, or winning as often as I could. You know? So,
you did enough of it.
Yeah, well, I lost a good bit too. Yeah, so I didn't win everything, but it just, as soon as I'd have something won, even in All Ireland, but by the following Tuesday, I'd nearly be thinking, well, the club are playing in 2 weeks' time. You need to be getting ready for that. You know, you'd always be driving it on. You know, yeah.
Is there one of your All Ireland medals that year stood out more than the others?
I suppose. Like I have lucky enough to have three.
95
with three playing. Yeah, but like Jim Try has three, but I was three playing. But 85 was the first one when I was very young. 94 was brilliant because the late finish against Limerick.
And you robbed them.
We did, and we're not apologising. And 98 then was probably the one I probably maybe cherished the most. You know, because I got an All-Star that year and beating Clare down in Thurles and then beating Kilkenny in a final was kind of special as well.
Did it the hard way really?
Kind of did, yeah.
And what about even the simple pleasure of pucking a ball around?
There's nothing to beat it really. You know, like it clears the head. You know, you can just get out and puck a ball around, or you could go to a training session thinking about a whole lot of things, and once you get out in the field, you forget about everything. You know, there's that side to it as well. You know, like it's a kind of a place of for just freedom. Yeah.
When's the last time you went pucking?
I puck the ball. I puck a ball against the wall regularly enough now at home out the backyard.
Yeah.
Probably the weather's been so bad recently, but it would be a couple of months ago, I suppose.
Just do it on your own up against the game.
Yeah.
It's great. Like it does actually kind of chill you out.
It does.
Yeah. And if you were to pick one memory from playing, I mean, obviously the days of winning are brilliant and all that. Yeah. But is there any day when you're just like, I was in the zone that day, or that was?
Without a doubt, Clare in '98 down in Thurles would have been. I think it was just one of those days where everything went right for me, you know, and no matter where I got a ball, I couldn't miss the post, you know. And, the atmosphere, the build up to it, the lead into it, it's just a memorable day. Yeah.
Actually, who's the most talented player you ever played with?
Most talented by a mile would be well, I suppose I often was asked that question as a batsman, Brian Whelan, no question about it, you know, and as a forward, my own brother Johnny would have been, very talented, you know, left or right, catching, striking. But Brian Whelan would be for just his reading of the game, his footwork, his wrist work, his motivation of a team. You know, he had it everywhere. Yeah.
And is there anyone at the moment that stands out above everyone else?
In Ireland or in Offaly now?
Well, you can both, but Ireland anyway.
Well, so in Ireland, you nearly wouldn't have to look past your own club or your former club, Brendan Maher at the moment, the way he's hurling. You know, I was managing the Irish Shinty team one year back around 2011 or 12, and I invited Brendan to play. You could ask him guest players, but Brendan came in anyway. We brought the team together just before we played Scotland. It was up in Athy, and it was to do a bit of stretching, and we just started the stretching and Brendan started talking, and he wasn't, but he was revving up his teammates, you know, and there were other inter-county players there the same day, but Brendan took it on himself to start getting the team revved up, if you know what I mean. He's just a born leader, like, and delivers and walks the talk as well when he goes out in the field. So, which, like Pádraig Maher, you know, if you go to Kilkenny, then you have TJ Reid, is a brilliant player. Like, she can go on and on. To be honest, you know, it's every team that wins anything needs a few of them kind of spread throughout the team. To be honest, you know.
Is that the final question then? Is there anything you change about hurling, or are you happy with the way it is?
Yeah, the hurling, it's gone very tactical now, and a lot of sharp hookouts and playing the ball through the lines. You know, you'd miss the old kind of one-to-one marking, I suppose. No, but like the entertainment value is still there. There's high-scoring games. No, I don't think there's a lot I wouldn't change, to be honest. You know, yeah.
Great stuff. Thanks very much.
Cheers, you're welcome.